Okay, I have to keep it at the 15-minute limit. But yeah, it would be nicer if I had unlimited time. But it's also good for me to watch the time because I can go on for hours with all of these subjects. I really can, and I have already. And I don't even know if people are watching this, if people stick with an hour of blah, blah, blah. So they'll probably fall asleep, but that's good too. It's good to fall asleep. It's makes you, if it makes you feel sleepy, that's very, very good. That means your body needs it. Don't blame yourself or don't beat yourself up for that. So it's good. No, I fall asleep at some videos, and I see that as a compliment to the video maker. So anyway, what I recommend for people that are living in Asia or that are living in a large city where they could potentially catch one of those horrible viruses. My message is really for everyone at the same time, wherever we live and whatever the situation is, whether there is an epidemic or not. All of these health rules that I've been talking about in my videos, also on my previous channels for years and years and years. All of this applies to just daily conscientious and responsible living, So, but particularly in times of epidemics, this is very, very important that one person goes shopping. It would be probably a good idea to use a breathing fiber mask, just to put over the nose and mouth. In Asia, I see that more than 50% of people are using those, and I think that's very smart to use it. In big cities, particularly, we're not in a big city, so my husband is probably not going to use it when he goes shopping. So, but we have been going shopping together because right now we don't have a dog. But sometimes I stay at home and he goes shopping, and so he uses those sanitation wipes for his hands. And he has been urging me to use those, and I usually use one, but he always hands me 3 of those. But that's okay, then I'll just get my hands. Most of those sanitation wipes contain ammonium, and I'm not a fan of that chemical so much, but yeah, it gets rid of any kind of pathogen. So there are better, more natural things to get rid of the chemicals. For example, Desert Essence. I am not sponsored by them. I'm just recommending them. Desert Essence. They make really, really great disinfecting hand wipes and face wipes, and it is all natural from herbal solutions and aloe vera and I don't know what else they use, citrus and cacti, and very nice stuff, that gets rid of all bacteria and viruses and naturally, and it's good for the skin at the same time. It doesn't contain any chemicals or ammonia or something like this. So that's good to do, to wipe your hands always, like before you go in the store and after you come back out, and wipe your hands again, wipe the handle of the shopping cart, and wipe your hands again, and wipe your steering wheel also with that. That's very helpful. So, and maybe wipe some other things, the shift gear and the other parts of the front of the van or a car. So maybe the seed as well. So that's very important to keep on paying attention to keeping everything clean and sterile as possible. And I recommend to people to buy rosemary or essential oil, and to buy a little rosemary in a pot growing, a little rosemary brush. It grows out into a brush. It needs a lot of sunlight. And in the wintertime, you can, in the beginning when it's small, you can keep it in the house by the window, and then later on put it in the greenhouse, or later on when it's large enough, you can plant it into your flower beds and water it a lot. I recommend to plant it during the summertime and when there's a lot of sunshine, and so it can grow and embed itself into it. And I recommend to people go out with a pruner and pick up just a couple of pieces this long of the rosemary, and depending on how many people you have, for 1 or 2 people, I recommend a large handful of the rosemary. You can make a brew out of it with the fresh needles. It's not really needles, it's really soft, but sort of like compacted leaves. And you pick up some of those twigs and you cut them into small pieces, and about a handful, and you can put it into a tea net. Like they sell cotton tea nets with a string that you can close, and then you can put that into the pot. You can also cook that on a low flame to make a brew that is a little bit stronger, but I recommend to put it into the boiling water after it had been removed from the heating body. So you pour boiling water on it, and then you let it simmer. You don't keep cooking it for a very long time, because then maybe nutrients get lost or something. So, but you can do that too. But I recommend just to make a tea, and a tea is just to put herbs into a decanter or tea kettle, like pouring tea kettle, and pour the hot water on top of that, and then let it sit for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And then you can drink the tea slowly, sip the tea like the Japanese people do, and sip that all day long. So particularly for people that have caught a viral infection, I think that would be very helpful to do. And rosemary, I don't know if that can be given to animals. I haven't checked that out. You can go on Google and research and check that. I'm going to do this later today. I'm going to research herbs for animals. So I have given my dogs herbal solution. I always check first on Google to make sure that this is okay, that other people had used it and that it is beneficial for them. And so you can put the tea that has cooled off, you can mix that into the dog food. That I have done that, and I thought that was very successful because it seemed to have boosted their immune system, and helped with different things. So also helped with arthritis and made their body circulate more, and that's also very, very, very helpful for any living being, dog, cat, or human, with any kind of contagious viral infection, whatever the viral or bacterial infection or fungal infection is. So that's very helpful to drink herbal teas. all day long, and put it into the dog food and mix it in, but let it cool off first. And so, and also what I wanted to say is diatomaceous earth, take diatomaceous earth every day. And your dogs and the cats too use a little, the cats would use about half a teaspoon of diatomaceous earth mixed into the cat food, and about half a teaspoon of kelp seaweed for the cats, and about half a teaspoon or teaspoon of shiitake mushroom powder. That's what we're taking right now. This is very, very healing, very good. It's a complete immune booster, and it makes your entire system very robust, when you're around other people that have contagious diseases. So shiitake mushroom powder, I highly recommend it. We got them, they were on a closeout sale at the grocery outlet, and they often have very good prices. I don't know if they're all distributed around the United States, but I think Trader Joe's has shiitake mushroom powder, and on the internet you can get it from Star West Botanicals. They have a lot of amazing bulk herbs and stuff and powders that you can get. And I got the kelp seaweed powder from Star West Botanicals, and that's absolutely fantastic. So for dogs, and we never had a cat, but I would say, half a teaspoon for the cats and 1 teaspoon of all of this for the dog, and depending on the size of the dog, of course. There are dogs the size of cats, of course, so then they will need less. The larger dogs, I would say about a teaspoon of all of these powders, of each of the powders. And if the dog is very large, like our Kenny was, the Great Dane, then maybe a teaspoon and a half, or maybe 2 teaspoons of those powders would be good. And for people too, approximately a teaspoon of the powder, maybe a large teaspoon. So, and I mix that into a warm water that I heated up in the microwave oven. So I put a cup of water in the microwave oven. I heat it up for about 2 minutes, and then I put the powders in, and that dissolves better, when the water is warm, not boiling, because then it might damage the nutrients in the powders. So, but hot enough to, just like you drink tea or coffee, and I don't recommend coffee. I recommend to people to quit coffee. So I recommend kids' coffee instead, Pero coffee or Cafix. Pero and Cafix, those are the two kids' coffees that are made with barley malt and other grains, malted grains, malted and roasted grain kid coffee. So that's full of nutrients, and that's very, very good. And so I drink that sometimes. And so I recommend all of these amazing supplemental things to put into a drink, and to make this a ritual for every day, okay? And drink lots of vitamin C juices. So carrot juice, apple juice, orange juice, possibly, if possible, juiced or blended. So that's better than the juice you buy in the store that is from a concentrate, but that's better than nothing too. So lots of orange juice I really recommend to people. So if you don't have a blender, then buy orange juice and drink that all day long, and drink herbal teas all day long, and don't drink coffee anymore. Don't put anything in your body that is not beneficial. Okay?